Hey everyone, welcome back to Mixietronics. I'm Mixie, and today we have a really simple video, but I think it's going to be very helpful. And the product that I'm going to be showing you today is the Distressed Ink mini ink pads in the color Twisted Citron. And basically the issue is that I just bought this and it's extremely dry. There's like no color coming off on the blending tool, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how that looks. Okay, so basically we're going to run a few different tests so that we can see how well these different methods work. Okay, so first I'm just going to go ahead and show you how it looks just straight out when it's dry. Okay, let me push everything aside. Okay, and I'm pressing pretty hard. And that looks like a lot, but you'll see that when I try to use it on the blending tool, like barely any ink will apply. So I have a little brand new sponge applicator. And I try to work it in really well. So I'm pressing really hard. As you guys can see, it's like kind of spotty, but I'm gonna try to get as much ink as possible. I mean, you can see like my fingers are turning white. I'm like pressing really hard, trying to get as much as possible here. I could barely get like an inch of coverage. So, all right. And as you see, I have a little section here. I'm going to move this to the side, and then I'll tell you what those products are in a sec. Just want to show you what we're working with first. So first, I'm just going to go like this. And as you guys can see, that's really all the ink that I can get out of this, you see? Like, I'm trying really hard to just get as much ink out, and it's like barely anything, you see? So and I mean, a little bit I guess that's left on here, but there's literally, like you guys can see, I'm like really trying, but nothing else comes off. Okay, let me show you a closer look. You guys can see that's going to be really hard to kind of blend out. It's just because not a lot of ink is coming out. And that's pretty much all that I can get out of it. Like, it's going to be really difficult to, you know, try to get and blend a card properly. So thankfully Ranger did come out with 2 additional products. So the first product that we're going to discuss excuse me, it's the Distress Refresher, and this is the 1.9 fluid ounce. And the reason I mention this is because they actually make another product, and it's called the Ink Essentials Ink Refresher. And it's actually 4 ounces, but they cost the exact same price. And in another video, Tim Holtz mentioned that it's actually the exact same product. He said he just made this one so that people know that they can actually use this product with distressed inks. But I mean, if it's the same product, I would go with the other one because you're going to get 4 times as much product for the exact same price. In addition, I contacted Ranger, and they let me know that yes, you can use this with the distress oxides, but with the oxides you can only use 1 spray, and if then that's not enough, then you would have to purchase a re-inker for the distress oxide. So I hope that kind of clears that up. Yeah, and I'll post that video where Tim Holtz actually mentioned that these are the exact same products in the description, so you guys can kind of see for yourself when he did his little test on it. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and spray this product, and this works really great. As you can see, where the line is, I use this on like 20 different stamps. And as you can see, there's a lot of products, so you can imagine how much, how long this will last. So I like to put, oh, and here's the instructions just so that you guys can, oops, there we go. Let me try to focus in. All right, here you go. So you guys can kind of see the instructions. And I'm actually going to use 5 sprays just because I like to go overboard, with the test. And in the demo video from Tim Holtz, he mentioned that he likes to let the spray soak in for about 5 minutes. I found that with 5 sprays, it's a little too much. That's not enough soaking time for 5 minutes for 5 sprays. And this product does not feel like water. I've seen a few other people kind of make their own and they use glycerin, and this is kind of like the same. So I'm wondering, that's probably kind of like the same thing that this has, because at 5 minutes it gives kind of like a, not like sticky, but kind of like a film that kind of sits on the top. It doesn't dry out, but it will actually blend in, and once it actually blends in, you don't get kind of any type of feeling to it at all, and I'll show you guys in a sec. So for 5 sprays, I actually like to let it sit for 30 minutes, and you get like a really intense color, and you won't get that kind of glycerin kind of coating on the top. It blends perfectly, so I'm going to show you that. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to spray it 5 times, and I like to just, go like all the different angles. So I'm going to do 1, 3, 4, and 5. All right. And then that's it, guys. I'll be back in about 5 minutes because I do want to show you that kind of coating that is left on it. And then we'll do the 5-minute and 30-minute comparison. So, okay, see you guys in a few. So it's been 5 minutes, and I'm just going to go ahead and let's test out the difference and see how it looks. So let me go ahead and do a close-up. At 5 minutes, we can really tell that the ink is much smoother. We're getting more coverage. And I know that at 30 minutes, once the refresher works its way all the way down and through the ink pad, it's going to be much better. All right, so it's been about 30 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and test it out to see how it looks. Okay, as you guys can see, after 30 minutes, the color really intensifies, and you still get a really smooth coverage in comparison to the first one. You guys can kind of see the difference between 5 minutes and 30 minutes, and you can see the color, especially like in the middle where I put a lot of pressure. It's like extremely smooth. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see a good look. Okay, and then the last, oh, actually not the last thing, I added an extra row to kind of do the blending tool just with the refresher before we move on to the last step, and that's with the re-inker. So let's go ahead and then try to do a quick blend with just the refresher. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to do a quick blend. I mean, it still feels the same, so we're really only gonna be able to tell once we try to blend it out. It's still looking a slightly the same, but it's You guys can see it goes much further. Oops. Then I could have maybe got a little bit more ink, but I probably should have measured how long I got the ink in the first place from the first one. But you can see it's close to a third more. And I can try to because I don't know if I did it as long, but you can see it's more ink that comes off. So you can see if we follow kind of like the point where it starts to fade out. This one is like the 50%. And if you go down, you can still see that it's still strong down here. And this doesn't even start to fade out till like over here. So it stays strong like 75% versus none. And then the last 25%, it starts to fade out a little tiny bit. So it really helps out a lot, especially you can see how much more ink you get. Of course, the last step is just to actually add more ink. So I'm going to go ahead and drop more ink, and you can see like the places that it absorbs the fastest, like over here. It absorbs a lot faster than that section. Maybe because you know, it already has the refresher, so you see like that section is not even absorbing it. Like right here, that absorbed pretty fast. Okay, and Tim Holtz actually recommended to actually like scrape, because to scrape the top of the ink pad to like really work the ink in. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it out. I mean, I can already tell it's so much darker. I mean, I probably should have counted a certain amount of seconds I did this, but just to be fair. Alright, so now we can go ahead and test out how the mixture of the refresher and the re-inker work together. I mean, yeah, it's strong all the way. Oops. Oops. Kind of. Alright, there's no point for me to... Man, this thing keeps popping off. Okay, just trying to do as much as possible. Why does this thing keep... Oh man, it broke. Well, this is another issue. These sponges are not lasting well. I guess it's a perfect example of the complaint people are having. It just literally just broke. But all right, we're pretty much done with our test. So yeah, Ranger, y'all have to fix that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a close look. All right, and the last thing that we're going to do is do our swatch. So starting from the left, we have the dry swatch. We can see it's kind of spotty. With the refresher at 5 minutes, we can see there's a lot more ink that we can now use. At 30 minutes, the color is a little bit brighter, so you can see that with the refresher and the re-inker, the color is really nice and bright. It's much smoother. We're getting a lot more ink. And as far as the blending, we can see dry, I wasn't getting a lot of ink. With just the refresher, it gave me like 50% more. The color is still not as bright, but it is much brighter than just when it was dry. And then of course with the refresher and the re-inker, it's really bright, it's smooth, and you're gonna get the best bang for your buck. So yes, I do recommend the refresher. It helped me with a lot of my ink pads that were dry, especially since I had a lot of the minis that I purchased when they were on sale, and I thought I was gonna have to throw them away, but this really saved them so I could get as much ink out of them as possible. And then of course I would definitely get re-inkers, because if you really want the color to be as bright as possible, then the re-inkers are the best way to go. To be honest, I prefer the re-inker over the ink pad. I'm going to make another video showing you guys how I make my own ink pads for really cheap, where from now on I probably will just make my own ink pads and then just buy the re-inkers, because you're going to get a lot more use out of this product versus just buying this product. So, but I mean, they all work great together. I mean, so now you have a few different options. And of course, there are a few other videos that show people how to, I guess, make their own ink refresher formula. But I mean, this is like $6. And like I said, if you get the Ink Essentials one, you're gonna get 4 times the amount for the same price. So I would just go with the other ones. Anyway, guys, I hope this video was helpful. Let's take one last quick look. And before I go, I just wanted to show you guys a few more swatches so you guys can see the results I got. So as you guys can see, the top row were my other dry ink pads, and as you guys can see, this is just with the refresher at 5 minutes, so you can see how much ink I was able to get out of the ink pads. And if you notice here, well, these, like I said, these were just at 5 minutes, and remember how I said in the beginning, I do prefer to let them soak for like 30 minutes. But what I did is, if you do have any of kind of like the glycerin type of film, if the ink hasn't fully blended out, what you can do is just blend it in, because that's not going to dry out, and it will completely dry completely. You're not going to have like any kind of stickiness or anything on your paper. It will be completely dry. Like once you just blend it in, the paper will absorb it, and you'll get like a really beautiful perfect blend. So I mean, the paper is perfectly dry. There's no type of residue at all whatsoever. So you guys can see over here, I did the complete blend up here. I did the same thing up here, so ignore this part. This is something else. But yeah, it's like perfectly smooth. And you guys can see the blend is completely smooth. And this was like the this section where it was like little, it looks just like basically little water spots if you put too much. Sometimes I put like 5 to 7 sprays, and I think it was like at the maybe 6 sprays where maybe you'll start getting a little too much refresher sitting on top of the paper, but it's not that big of a deal. Like I said, just blend it in and it'll be perfectly smooth. So anyway, guys, I hope these additional swatches can show you the type of results that you can get. And thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of each technique, and if you think you'll try out the refresher to save some of your stamp pads. Anyway, guys, make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye bye.